Hello everyone, this is Mr. Brubaker, and I'm going to walk you through how to do your final essay for the Crucible. So this video is made to be played and paused so that you can complete the steps for the final essay. And you can rewind it, look back as much as you want. So I'm going to walk you through it so that you can be successful. You're going to use the skills that we have been working on, and if you have been paying attention and doing the reading, then you should feel very well prepared for this final essay. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to create a new Google Doc that you're going to use for your essay. So if you haven't done that yet, go ahead and pause the video and open a new Google Doc. Now, once you have your Google Doc created, what you're going to do is add a heading. Okay? So the first thing you would do is you would type your name. Okay? Then you would have the class. So this is English 11. And you would have the teacher's name. And then you would have the date. So today is the 4th of March, 2021. And then I'm going to go ahead and go down a line, and I'm going to center everything because I need a title. And our title for our essay will be the topic. So who could have done more in the capital Crucible? All right, then I'm going to press Enter. I'm going to click the button up here at the top to go back so that I'm over here on the side. And then I'll press Tab, and now I'm ready to actually write my essay. Now, one thing we want to do is we want to double space everything. So I'm going to select everything that I just typed. And then I'm going to click on this line spacing right here. And I'm going to choose double. Okay, so now everything's double spaced. I've indented and ready to go. I'm going to pause here in case you need a moment to complete that step. All right, the next part is we're going to work on an introduction. So usually introductions give brief background, and then they end with a thesis statement. So your essay, what you're going to do is you're going to create an argument in this essay. Okay, you're going to choose a character or characters. You don't have to only focus on one. Okay, so you could choose a character or multiple characters that you think could have done more to end the witch hunt in Salem. And you're going to write an essay that argues your position on what actions the characters could have taken throughout the play. You're going to focus on Acts 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so what could the character you chose or characters, what could they have done? That's going to be the focus of your argument. So the first thing we'll start off with is a little bit of background about the play. Usually when you're writing about a fictional work, you start with the author. So we're going to say Arthur Miller's, and then you give a genre, so Arthur Miller's play, comma, then you give the title. Titles are done in italics. So the Crucible. I'm going to get rid of the italics there. And I was doing italics by pressing Control I. I also could have gone up here and pressed this I right there. Okay, so Arthur Miller's play, The Crucible, is about. So it's always good to start off with a summary statement. Now, throughout this video, wherever you see those 3 dots, that's where you're going to finish up a sentence. Okay, so give just a general statement. What's it about? Mention the witch hunts, maybe the girls in the forest, Abigail, and this could be just one sentence or it could be a couple sentences. But what is the play generally about? Now, what happens throughout the play? And this is really where you're going to make a statement about the witch hunts, the chaos that occurs, the court scenes, that kind of stuff. So throughout the play, what's the conflict? What's going on? What's really the problem that the people in Salem have? And again, that may be one sentence or maybe a couple sentences. And then finally, you're going to get to your thesis statement. And again, you're going to make an argument about who could have done more in this play. Okay. So we know that Abigail is the mastermind throughout, and she's kind of working against these people who would have wanted to do more. So let's make a statement, right? And when you make a thesis statement, it's good to make a concession like, okay, here I know someone could think this, but these characters still could have done more. So we're going to make a statement about Abigail, right? What she's doing, and even though, or we're going to say, even though she's doing all this stuff, these characters could have done more to stop her. And so we will write something like this. So although Abigail, okay, so what was she doing throughout the play to keep this witch hunt going? And then this is the first time where you're going to mention the characters you're going to focus on. So you're going to put in character names. And so whatever, whoever those are, you're probably going to focus on Proctor, Mary Warren, maybe Danforth. So you're going to list some names. So these characters could have, and just summarize what you think they could have done to put an end to Abigail's schemes and plans. And this would be our introduction. So let's just review. Arthur Miller's play, The Crucible, is about. So what's it about? That could be one or two sentences. What's happening throughout the play? Although Abigail does what? What is she doing? What's her plan? And who could have done more in the play? So we're going to list their names and what they could have done. Okay, so take a moment to go ahead and write your introduction. All right, now that we're done with our introduction, we're going to write a paragraph. So again, I'm going to press Enter and Tab. We're going to write a paragraph about each of the acts in the play. So one paragraph about Act 2, one paragraph about Act 3, one paragraph about Act 4. And we're going to pick a character in each of those acts who could have done something more to put an end to the witch hunt that is tearing apart Salem. Okay, so the pattern we're going to use is the pattern we've been using the whole time. Throughout our writing, we've done lots of writing here throughout the Crucible, and so we're going to use this pattern. And so we're going to say, here's a part of the play and a character name. What could they have done in that part of the play? Give me an example, right? Take, for example. In fact, and here you need to quote the play. And if we look over here at Google Classroom, I've included all of the parts we've read. Okay? So you really don't need anything more than this, but if you remember a scene that you don't feel as though is in here, this is the entire play at the bottom. These are all the parts you've read, and I don't think you would, to find quotes, you probably wouldn't need anything more than what you see right here. Okay, so I'm going to pick a part of the play like Act 2. I could say, in Act 2, John Proctor could have done what? Give me an example. Then you need to find a place where a character says something that backs up your example. Okay, so in fact, Proctor says, or someone says something that backs up your example. Then use the phrase in other words to explain it. And then talk about, then you're going to describe however they don't do this, and therefore the problem continues. Okay, so however, maybe in this case again, John Proctor doesn't do the thing you've described, and therefore what's the significance for the play? And I just want to show you this graphic, right? Because this is what we're doing, and this is something that you could take with you to your senior year, to college. This pattern, right? We're making an assertion, right? A focus for the paragraph. We're giving examples. We're going to explain and use evidence to back up those examples, and then we talk about the significance. You're going to keep doing this throughout. And so probably this part of the video, you're going to pause here for a long time and use this to construct your body paragraphs. Let's just maybe look at what this would look like here, especially this part, right? When you do the quote, it says act and line. So let me, what exactly would that look like? So it says part of the play and character name. Let's start off a sentence together. Okay, so it's a part of the play. So I'm starting off in act, and we use Roman numerals. We're going to do 2 I's in Act 2. And then right here it says character name, John, say John Proctor. And then it says could have, okay, could have. And then I'm going to just describe, well, what could he have done? And then I'll give an example of what he could have done, right? So maybe in this case, it's he could have ended or he could have stood up more forcefully to Abigail in Act 2 rather than waiting till later in the play. And then you can give me an example of where you felt like, hey, he could have done something right here. Now, you're also going to give a quote that they say. Okay, now the quote doesn't have to be from the person that you're focusing on. It could be something someone else says, but it's an example of what you're talking about. And then here, this is where you're going to actually put the exact words from the play. Okay, and then act in line. Well, what does that look like? So if I'm in this paragraph focusing on Act 2, then what I mean is act.line, you'd put 2 dot and whatever line number that was. So let's say it was line number 121. Then it would look like that. And then after that, I would explain what that quote shows and how it fits my example. And then I would finish off that paragraph by ending with, however, John Proctor doesn't do that, and therefore here's how things don't work out. The problems in the play continue. And then once I'm done, press Enter and Tab, and then I could go to the next act, right? So maybe I'd say in Act 3. And really, you're going to have 3 body paragraphs because I want you to focus on Act 2, Act 3, and Act 4. So this would probably be a good place to stop the video and work on your body paragraphs. You can rewind, listen to anything I said, but this is the pattern that you're going to use for each body paragraph. So here's a great place to pause and work on your 3 body paragraphs using the text excerpts that we have here on Google Classroom. So go ahead and pause the video. Okay, so hopefully now you have done your paragraphs for each of the acts. And maybe here, instead of saying Act 4, I could say by the end of the play, and then I'd focus on that character. Now, how do we bring our essay to a conclusion, right? How do we end it? So right here we have these ideas that we can use to write our conclusion. It looks like I'm going to have to zoom out here. So conclusions really take, especially when you're writing about a piece of fiction, so you're trying to take the lessons learned in that piece of fiction and apply them to yourself, to society, and in this case, we're going to apply it to our contemporary time. So the first off, we're going to write, the way to end a witch hunt is, right? You've been talking about what you think characters should have done, so summarize that. If you're going to put all that together, how does somebody end a witch hunt? Then I'm going to go back to the idea, right? Unfortunately, the citizens in Salem do not do whatever you just mentioned. Then I want you to focus on, if you mention multiple characters, who's most responsible for not doing enough? So the person most responsible for not doing more to end the witch hunt is blank. If only they had done this, what is that thing that they could have done? And then we're going to connect this to modern times, right? Witch hunts are not only a thing of the past. For example, give an example of maybe where you see witch hunts happening today, right? Even though it may not be about witches, there's times when we hunt down people, right? We try to cancel them, we try to ostracize them, separate them out, and make them feel like they are evil, like people do in the play. Now, what do we need to do as a society to protect against this, right? If people in our society don't do blank, then just like the people in Salem, we could do what? And that's where you make that connection to contemporary society. Okay? So this is how you would end it. So take a moment now, looking at these sentences, and go ahead and write your conclusion. All right, so you are done with your essay. Now we're going to look at, okay, what do I need to do now that I'm done? What would a good grade, how do I get a good grade on this? Because this will count as a writing grade, which means kind of whatever grade you want in the class, that's what grade you need to get on the essay. So if you want a C, you've got to get at least a C on the essay. If you want a B, a B. If you want an A, you're going to have to get an A. So what do I need to get a B minus? To be slightly above average. One, you have to have complete paragraphs, right? So we've looked at this paragraph template. I should see all of these sentences in there. What else do I need to do? Okay, you need to make sure you have a paragraph about Act 2, about Act 3, and Act 4. You need to have your introduction and conclusion. And there should be no obvious spelling or grammar mistakes. So in Google Docs, I need to go up here to Tools, and I actually need to run the spelling and grammar check. Okay? So not just relying on the underlines, but actually running the grammar check. Earlier in the year, we also did some add-ons. And so we looked at, I think, the sapling add-on, or we do another one. Oh yeah, or this is one right here, the grade proof one. So hopefully you have one of these add-ons. If you don't, you can come back on the Google Meet and I'll show you how to add them. But this will also check your grammar. So run these, and that will help you have no obvious spelling or grammar mistakes. And finally, your argument should make sense. Right? When I'm reading it, I should be thinking to myself, yeah, those characters could have done more. How do you earn an excellent, right? How do I earn an A? How do I achieve excellence? To do that, you would need to add more than one example in each paragraph. So where we give examples from the text and you're quoting the text, you would do that more than once. Rather than just having one quote, you would have multiple quotes from the text to back up your thoughts. How else could you achieve excellence? Vary how you write your sentences. Don't just use my sentence frames. Okay, so think of your own creative ways to include the same ideas but vary the types of sentences. So if I look back here, right, an axis paragraph doesn't say, hey, you have to start with these sentences. It just says your paragraph has to have these 4 parts. I've given you some sentences to help guide you, but there are other ways to do the same thing, right? There's other ways to give an example. There's other ways you could start a sentence that has a quote. So if you want to be excellent, think of some of those ways. Another way to be excellent is add in vocabulary from the list we studied. Look back at your vocab lists, put in some of those words, and make an argument that goes beyond the surface of the text. So when I read your argument, not only should it make sense, but I should think, wow, that was a creative thought that you had in your paragraphs when you're justifying who could have done more. So take a moment now and pause the video and especially do this step right here, right? No obvious spelling or grammar mistakes. So run that grammar check and make sure that you don't have any of those issues. So pause the video now. All right, you've made it to the end of your essay. Well done. I just want to give you a heads up to what's coming up. So soon we're going to be starting The Great Gatsby, and Ms. V and I are going to be working together. So she'll still be running the main part of the class, but you're going to be seeing more of me in small groups. So I look forward to that. And good job today on your writing. Make sure you get this turned in. It's turned in today. So it's very important that you turn in this assignment today. It's not supposed to be a multi-day thing. You get it done today. And every day that you turn it in after today, I'm going to subtract 5 points. So unless you want 5 points off each day you don't turn it in, make sure you get this turned in today. And I look forward to seeing you all online soon.